Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to Championship Predictions. There's more games coming this week. It is mental. I just got the better of you this weekend, Sophie. Yeah. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, Cov lost, so not great, and then I lost against you at predictions, so it's not been a very good week so far.
You're still just about winning overall. Now, if you haven't already seen in my community page the other day, we are actually going to be starting a predictions league. So that means people that are signed up to the Patreon, which is the link down in the description, they can compete against us. It's just a small fee to pay each month. We're going to be starting it for the World Cup and then doing it for Championship and Premier League predictions weekly when we return in December. So if you want to compete against us, if you're the kind of person that wants to put predictions down below, we can get you all involved if you sign up to the Patreon using the link down in the description. Like I say, we'll give you more information on it when the World Cup rolls around, but do sign up to the Patreon if you haven't already. It obviously means the 10 Patrons we've already got are already involved, so the likes of Shane, Pete, Daniel, Andrew, Carl, Reedy, Tony, John, Cameron and Willie G are already entered into this, and if you want to get involved, sign up to the Patreon down below. We're also bringing this video to you via BetMate today. Now, BetMate are fantastic. If you haven't already signed up, get involved. We're signed up to this. They sponsor us. It's such good fun using the fancy football they've got there. We had to go at the Championship 3 PM pot this weekend. Benjamin Bloom won. If you haven't already checked out his channel, it was fantastic. I was top of the table at half time, but it's certainly worth getting involved with some of these pots. There's always a free pot as well, so get involved. Thank you to BetMate for sponsoring us, and the link for them is down in the description as well. Let's get on to the predictions, guys. We start with one which we don't even know is going to be going ahead yet. Coventry City versus Blackburn. At the time of recording this, Sophie, this game might not get played. It could get played somewhere else. I don't know what's actually going to happen at this point in time. We might be able to bring you more information as time goes on, but right now, looking at it for what it is, Coventry City lost at the weekend against Blackpool. Blackburn just won against Hull. They're doing really well.
They are in very good form.
I think Blackburn will be the favourites, but I think something that could play into Coventry's hands is I think we actually do better against better teams. Yeah, now that's a compliment to Blackburn. They're an offensive team. When we played the likes of, no disrespect, Rotherham, you know, we became a bit unstuck because they were sat a bit further back, whereas we played the likes of Sheffield United and Stoke and we beat those because, you know, they try and get at you.
Open. Yeah.
I, for that reason, think Coventry could get a draw, whether this game goes ahead or not. I'll say 1-1.
Yeah, I feel like if we're actually playing at the CBS, I think a draw is going to play out. If we're playing maybe elsewhere, I really don't know. As you say, I think Blackburn are the favourites. They're in much better form. We've had quite a few injuries. We've had an illness going around as well. So even our fit players aren't actually fit. Sounds like I'm making excuses before the game's even started. Maybe I am. But yeah, I think it's going to be a draw as well, so I'm going to say 1-1.
1-1. Okay, next up we'll move on to a game which definitely should be on. Hull versus Middlesbrough. Both sides lost at the weekend. A Middlesbrough fan commented saying we forgot to mention Carrick coming in as the manager, but they still lost anyway to Preston. Hull City lost to Blackburn, who we've just spoken about. So two sides that come into this wanting that win and really couldn't do with another defeat. They're both in a similar position down that bottom 8 of the table. Middlesbrough are in under a bit more pressure, I'd say, because of the nature of the club. You'd expect them to be higher up the table. For that reason, I think they might just get the win. I think they really do need to get a move on. If they lose this, they could drop into the bottom 3 soon. I'll say 1-0 Middlesbrough.
Okay, I do think they're going to get the win as well. Yeah, we did get some stick for not mentioning the manager, and I do think that Michael Carrick could make a good manager. I don't know if he's going to do it at Middlesbrough, but I think he's going to have a good career as a manager. It's going to take him a little while to find his feet, but I can see them getting the win here. So I'm going to say 2-1. I think both teams score, but I think Middlesbrough just edge it. It's 2-1.
Okay, next up we go to Kenworth Road as Luton Town take on Reading. Luton with the 1-1 draw against Sunderland, they just look so good at times, but then they just can't quite do it. I'm still standing by. I think Luton make top 6. I'm saying this almost every week now, but I have a feeling Luton Town are good enough. They're going up against Reading, who really did get unlucky against Burnley. They competed with them and then lost late on in stoppage time. I don't think there'll be a lot between these two, but Luton at home makes me just go for them. 2-1 Luton Town.
Yeah, I'm going to say 1-0 Luton. I do think they're a good team, but they are quite inconsistent. However, as you say, with them being at home, I'm just going to back them to edge it. But tight games, so just 1-0 for me. Just
1-0. Okay, next up we go to Deepdale. It's Preston North End versus Swansea City. Preston with a good win at the weekend, and Swansea City had to come from behind to get a draw at Bristol City. So it's a tricky one to predict because Preston I find them quite tricky to predict. They go from 0-0s to winning and losing.
Same with Swansea as well.
Yeah, but Swansea, I would say, over a stretch of 8 games, look a bit more consistent, and I think they've got a real good chance of making the playoffs this season. I don't think there'll be a lot in this game, but I might just edge Swansea 1-0.
Yeah, I really don't know how this is going to go, to be honest. I can see maybe another 1-1 playing out for Swansea City. I think it's going to be quite tight, not much separating the two teams. So yeah, 1-1 for me.
Okay, next up we go to Bristol City. They're at home again. They take on Sheffield United, who are on the road again. And I did back Sheffield United to get a win at West Brom, and they've gone and done that.
Yeah.
And I think they're starting to turn it around now. They had that 5 or 6 games without winning, and now they've got a win on the board away at West Brom. Can they get another away win here? It will really boost the confidence, and I still stand by them getting automatic promotion. I think they'll have a bit too much for Bristol City, who are not a bad side and certainly capable of winning this game, but Sheffield United, just a bit too much quality. I'll say 3-1.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-1 Sheffield United, and I can probably see Bristol City going 1-0 up again. On their day, they're quite a good team, Bristol City, but they don't have their day often enough. And Sheffield United, they are starting to hit some good form now. So I think they're going to back it up with another win. So 2-1.
2-1. Okay, next up we go to the Hawthorns, West Bromwich Albion. They're bottom of the table now.
It's just not looking good for them at all.
And they've brought in the manager. Maybe over time things might get better, but they host Blackpool, who I thought were very good against Coventry.
Yeah, they play well.
Very open team, so they can concede, but they can certainly score a few, and their fans were really good. I think
not many, but loud.
Yeah, really loud. Noisiest fans we've had at the CBS. I'll give Blackpool credit.
Yeah.
I think you've got to go Blackpool here. Blackpool have got so much more positivity coming into this. West Bromwich Albion will turn around at some point, surely, but not just yet. 2-0 Blackpool. I'm
going to say 2-1 Blackpool. I think West Brom might get a goal, but the way Blackpool played against us, I think they were very good. Wasteful as well. They should have been 3-4-0 up at times. So if they can become a little bit more clinical, then they've got absolutely no worries this season. On the other hand, with West Brom, I think there's a lot to worry about there, and it's just not looking good. I don't know when they're going to turn it around. I feel like they've got to turn it around at some point just because of the size of the club, but I don't see them doing it against Blackpool. So for me, Blackpool win this 2-1.
2-1. Okay, next up we'll go to St Andrews. Birmingham City take on Millwall. Birmingham got a really good result against QPR on the Friday, and maybe I discredited them by saying they've hit their ceiling, because they just seem to pull out results when you least expect it, and I actually think they could push into that top 10. I mean, if they win this, I'm sure they'll be in and amongst that. Millwall, meanwhile, they lost to Huddersfield. They've been going pretty well, but I actually did back Huddersfield to win that one. I just don't seem to be more convinced by Millwall away as much as I am by them at home.
Yeah.
I'll go Birmingham 1-0.
Yeah, I'm actually going to say the same. 1-0 Birmingham for me. They did impress me in their 2-0 win over QPR. And I really did think Millwall would get something at the weekend. So I think coming up against Birmingham away, it's going to be a very hard game. So I think it's going to be another defeat for the Lions.
Okay, next up we go to Turf Moor. Burnley take on Rotherham. Burnley look pretty good.
Yes.
In that sort of top 6 where everyone's jumping above each other, I just seem to think Burnley look like the team that might, if anyone's going to open a gap, it would be Burnley. They did it late on against Reading, and I think you've got to go for them here. Rotherham, I'll still give them credit. They've done really well so far this season. Didn't get the result at Cardiff, but I think this is a bit of a free hit in the Championship, so Burnley to win 2-0.
I'm going to say 3-1 Burnley. I can see Burnley winning this game. They're not really losing. They're either winning or drawing. They're in quite good form. I didn't think they'd be doing this well, to be honest, at this point in the season. And then same goes for Rotherham. I thought they would be probably sitting bottom or near enough bottom. So I do think they're going to lose this one. Burnley are just looking very, very good, and being at home as well. I can see a few goals in this, so that's why I'm saying 3-1. 3-1,
okay. Next up is two sides that won 1-0 at the weekend, Cardiff and Watford. Cardiff needed that win because they're in a precarious position, so it relieves the pressure a little bit. And Watford have actually managed to follow up a win with another win, because before we were criticising them for being inconsistent. Might just go for Watford here. That's no disrespect to Cardiff. I think they're both going to be, I think it's going to be a close contest, but I just think Watford's quality, if they start to put things right, I think they should shoot into that sort of top 6. 1-0 Watford.
I'm actually going to say this is going to play out as a draw. I think Cardiff being at home, this might help them a little bit more. With Watford, I think they're a very, very good team. They're underperforming for me. They should really be looking at this as, like, in kind of terms of where they are in the table, as this should be a win. But I think Cardiff are going to make it a really tough game. So for me, it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
Okay, next up we're going to Huddersfield versus Sunderland. Huddersfield got that crucial win. I've backed them to beat.
Well done on that. Yeah.
I backed them to beat Millwall, and it seems to be the only way they can win at the moment. Just 1-0 at home. They take on Sunderland, who got a 1-1 at Luton. They seem to just be battling for every point now and then. Sunderland. They've fallen down the table a bit, but I still think they're a comfortable mid-table side, if that sounds fair. As for Huddersfield, they'd rather be towards mid-table. They want to win this one, but can maybe see Sunderland battling their way out for a point. I'll say 1-1.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 0-0 draw for me. I think it's going to be quite a tough game. If any team's going to win it for me, maybe Huddersfield. Just having that home advantage, and maybe they're going to start kicking on a bit, because I don't know if they're going to go down. At certain points I thought, yeah, it's dead set they're going down. I've changed my mind a little bit now. And Sunderland, they look good at spells, but again, another inconsistent team for me. So I think it's going to be a draw, and I'll say 0-0.
Okay, next up, Norwich take on QPR, 5th versus 3rd. Things have changed a little bit. Norwich won at the weekend, QPR lost at the weekend, and it's all squeezed back up next to each other. So
it's so tight up there, isn't it? Like the whole table is just very
if Norwich win this, they'll overtake QPR, and we were praising QPR for being top, but that's the nature of how tight it is. If QPR lose 2 games, they could fall down to about 6th. QPR need to bounce back, but it's not an easy one going away to Norwich in the Championship. I know Norwich haven't been flawless recently, but they did get back to winning ways, and Norwich do look like a team that could suddenly start stringing wins together. So I will go for Norwich to win this one, and I'll say an entertaining 3-1.
Okay, so another 3-1 for Norwich. Yeah, I'm going to back Norwich to win this one. I think they're going to start putting a good run together. QPR, I think it's a bit of a freak result to lose 2-0 to Blues. So they should be looking to try and at least get a point here, but I don't see that happening. So I'm going to say 2-0 Norwich.
2-0 Norwich.
Yeah, and a clean sheet as well, which they need. So.
Yeah, that would be massive for them. The last game is at the DW, and it's Wigan versus Stoke. This is an interesting one. Yeah, they both lost at the weekend. There's not a lot in this for me. No. I feel like Wigan have done all right so far this season, but they don't want to get sucked into that bottom 3 battle. Meanwhile, Stoke blow hot and cold, don't they, ultimately? Not been great recently. Stoke have lost a few games in the last sort of 5 or so. I think this could be one where they both need the win, but they might both not get it. I'll end on an anticlimactic 0-0.
Oh, okay. I think going into this, Stoke are going to be favourites. But I'm actually going to back the home team. I'm going to say 1-0 Wigan. I think it's going to be quite a tight game because, yeah, as you say, both teams aren't in the best of form at the moment. So I'm gonna back the home team. Not too many goals though, so 1-0 for me. 1-0
Wigan. That wraps up our Championship predictions, guys. Get your thoughts down below. Like I said, if you want to join us for Predictions League, which will be coming very soon, do sign up to the Patreon. The link is down in the description. You can sign up to just any of the fees and you will be involved. Do like, do subscribe, and do check out BetMate down below. Thank you for joining me, Sophie.
Thank you.
We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.